Okay, good news. I'm back in Mullumbimby, Australia for a few weeks with my two best friends. So excuse the hippie backdrop. Mullumbimby is a little bit of a hippie town in New South Wales. It's near Byron Bay. It's really, really cool. But anyway, today's video, I'm certain it's going to really help when it comes to a big stumbling block I'm finding a lot of students are having. So the truth is, I'm actually in a really fortunate position as by teaching one-on-ones in Sydney, I see many of the questions people have and what they're struggling with the most. And this in turn, it gives me ideas for YouTube videos with the goal to solve problems and help you all build confidence as DJs. Now, anyway, a common problem and a common question that's coming up is creating playlists and how important is mixing in key. So in this video, I'm going to touch on how I would personally use mixed in key. And I'm also going to give you some tips on how to craft a pro sounding playlist with the least amount of effort. Okay, so let's jump in. So firstly, for those of you that are new to the concept of mixing tracks that are harmonically compatible, here's the theory. Here's kind of how it works. So when an artist or a producer writes a track, okay, they write that track using sounds, and in music theory, those sounds are called keys. So let's imagine I'm in front of a keyboard, okay? It goes from A to G on the keyboard, and that's repeated in octaves and stuff, but it doesn't matter. But let's say I hit A on the keyboard, it's gonna sound different to B. But it goes a little bit deeper than that. There'll be a different group of sounds that make up the key of A, a different group of sounds that make up the key of B, and all these combinations of sounds and keys. But when an artist or a producer writes a song, they usually gravitate around a particular group of sounds or a particular key to write that track. So first of all, let's just imagine, okay, I'm on a keyboard and let's say I'm playing a pattern in the key of A, and you hop up the other end of the keyboard at the same time and start hitting random keys with me. Now, some of the keys that you hit may actually complement what I'm playing, and others are going to actually sound terrible. And that's the same when you're DJing and you're playing two tracks together. See, if both tracks are harmonically compatible, in music theory, it's called resonance, meaning the tracks are resonating with one another. And honestly, it can help take your sound to a pro level very quickly. However, if the tracks are not harmonically compatible, in music theory, that's called dissonance. And what it just means it's just not great, okay? Now, all in all, even if tracks are out of key and they don't sound that great together, there are ways to hide it. For instance, you know, like advanced EQ methods or mixing into the parts of the track where there's less going on. And I honestly feel with solid DJ foundations, you can mix anything, no matter the key, and you can make everything work. But mixing skills aside, when playing live, as long as your track selection is on point, meaning you're reading the crowd and playing the right track moment to moment, then whether or not the tracks are in key doesn't matter as much as DJs think. And if you ask me, DJs are putting way too much importance on mixing harmonically. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? Yes, if tracks are in key and your track selection is on point, so you're mixing in key and you're playing the right songs, win-win. Your transitions will undoubtedly sound more professional. But that's where the issue comes in, okay? Because people want to sound like pros, but they often sacrifice track selection for mixing like harmonically. And in my opinion, this means they've missed the point. And usually if they're playing based on key, not on by track, your dance floor is going to suffer. So yes, 100%, it's important to learn how to DJ and do killer transitions. But transitions aside, it's the atmosphere in the room that matters most. And let's say I'm playing live and someone requests a song and I'm like, yeah, man, that would go really well now. And let's say it's not in key, fuck it, man. I'd play it anyway, as the people on the dance floor are way more concerned with what tracks I'm playing, right? And the energy I'm creating on the dance floor than harmonic transitions, okay? But here's the thing. Let's say then I've gone and played this requested track, and let's say now I'm not sure what to play next. Well, that's when I use harmonic mixing, as it gives me ideas and suggestions as to what tracks will harmonically complement the track currently playing, which that can actually be a bit of a lifesaver sometimes. It like short lists. I'm like, oh, that's harmonically compatible. Maybe that'd work now. So in short, the advantages of mixing harmonically are It will help your transitions to sound more professional, okay? It can give you ideas. That's what I love, like ideas what to play next. It makes doing mashups a piece of cake, same as using acapellas. And also, if you're new to a genre, or let's say you gain to know tracks by playing them, you could pretty much play in key the whole time. And this is a great way to build confidence, as it'll have you sounding like a pro in no time at all. It's not about dance floors, it's more about you just sort of jamming, building your confidence, 100%. However, the disadvantages of like mixing in key the whole time are people are taking it way too seriously and they feel they have to mix harmonically the whole time. And this sometimes affects the flow of their set as they're picking tracks based on key as opposed to reading the crowd, or better yet, going into the set with a goal, or perhaps they've got a vision for the set. And what I mean by having a goal is knowing what kind of energy you want to create going in, right? And if you have a clear vision of the outcome, then I find the ideas like, what song to play next and stuff, if you kind of have something that you're working towards, it's going to come a lot easier as you can pick tracks based on your goals for the mix. So for instance, right, do you want to start strong and say do the wave, meaning like you flow between styles and you take people on a wild ride? Or do you do the ramp, and that means you start slow and you build momentum as you go? Or do you plan to maintain a consistent energy the whole time? Or are you going to come out and go hit all the big songs? Or do you want to make your set more underground and stay true to a particular style or niche or genre? See, having a bigger goal for the set is like, honestly, that's of utmost importance. And once you have your goal and even a vision for how people will respond, right? Like you're like, man, you've got like a plan, something to excite you, man. That's what it's all about. Then you're on your way. But anyway, okay, so anyway, back to the point quickly. This girl came last week to my local project, Sydney DJ School, and she'd hit a wall with building a playlist. And she admitted to me finding tracks that flowed that were also harmonically compatible was something she was really struggling with, and she was feeling like a little bit discouraged. So the first thing I said to her was, harmonic mixing, okay? Let's try using intuition instead. Let's have some fun with this. And what I mean by that is we could preview the tracks, we could find tracks that have a similar vibe and sound and put them together. And I even asked her, what do you think would go well with this? And we weren't even looking at keys. It's like more like an idea thing, like, fuck, you like this song? What intuition comes? Like, what do you think would go well? And we're taking educated guesses. And then sometimes we're previewing the tracks as well. And honestly, we managed to actually craft something quite amazing just by using intuition and not looking at the keys in about 10 minutes. And already she was feeling much better about it. Now, sure, once we hit the decks, we had to shuffle a few of the tracks around. And I'll admit, in the reshuffling, I did consider keys and the energy but then again, like the goal of the set. But with this whole new approach based more on intuition and flow, we built and developed a world-class set within an hour, and she felt transformed and so much better about it. However, the first question I did ask her was what are your goals for the set? As I feel trying to build a set without a goal is like putting together a jigsaw puzzle without a box top, okay? So the clearer you are on what you want to create and for whom, the easier it will come together. And by thinking more in terms of goals, you become less of a slave to harmonic mixing, where it's just like, fuck, what's harmonic? So yes, 100%, I still observe the keys, and if I'm having trouble making some tracks work, knowing the keys helps, as it gives me ideas on how I could possibly reshuffle the tracks to make them work. But the point here is I'm not ruled by mixing in key. And I heard someone say once, I've forgotten where, but it said, mixing in keys, it's a tool, it's not a rule. And at the end of the day, playing the right tracks for the crowd and reading a crowd is by far such a more important skill than being a slave to mixing in key the whole time, which can leave people feeling stumped. I'm like, oh, that's in key, but it doesn't take the energy there. Anyway, so can I ask you, right, are many of you experiencing these same issues? Can I also ask, do you prefer the software's inbuilt key analysis, or do you use the original mixing key? So for instance, the Camelot wheel. And would you like me to do a video on the difference between for instance, the record box inbuilt key analysis and how to set that up, and versus mixing key, and go into whether or not I feel buying mixing key is worth the money. Anyway, man, I hope you found that helpful, and remember, sure, the free stuff is good and you can get a lot of useful tips, but the actual course is my legacy. It's my baby, and it gets the majority of my love and my attention. And trust me, if you've only checked out the free stuff, then you ain't seen nothing yet, okay? So I'll link in my course below. I have a sale on now on my complete package. So check that out. And it's honestly, get on it, man, and join the most powerful and authentic DJ group I've ever witnessed, the Club Ready Tribe. And by the way, I don't say that in a competitive way. Like, I love the other schools, man. They're inspiring, right? I guess I'm just super proud of mine. If you do feel you'd benefit from an organized approach, get feedback on mixes, and be part of a really cool DJ community, then 100% welcome aboard. You're not going to regret it. And these videos I'm doing now, well, as you see, they're pretty raw, man. It's YouTube. Yeah. Can I like I've said this before, I feel I can be myself. It's all you. I mentioned this, but it's your fault, because you all leave such lovely comments, and I feel I can just do me. But anyway, so just maybe I'll just go complete tangent. So you've met Mickey before. She was in my other video. But Sadie here, Sadie's, I love Sadie, but she's a rescue, so she was abused. And she's honestly, yeah, love her. Like, she's very loyal to his family, but she's had a hard life, you know. But anyway, love animals, man. Love them. Don't hurt animals, man. If you hurt, anyway, sorry, I'm being way too real now. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll probably have the next few weeks maybe up here, you know. I find being on these holidays allows me to think clear. I've got a lot going on, mainly for my students, I'll be honest. Like, this stuff's, yeah, it's fun, but my big focus is on my students. But anyway, okay, love you, bye.